gonna get another drunken hug tonight. I don't care what anyone says. You're getting a drunken hug.
Oh.
You too. You too. Drunken hugs are coming tonight. Yeah.
Nobody expected Jayda to say it like that. Not loud, not messy, not even directly. Just calm, almost reflective, like someone who already made peace with a decision the rest of the world hasn't caught up to yet. When somebody shows you who they are, the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time, you have to believe them. That wasn't relationship advice. That was a warning shot.
I would say my last relationship definitely taught me, like, when somebody show you who they are,
Believe
the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time, you have to believe them.
And the second those words left her mouth, the internet didn't need a name. Everyone already had one in mind. Jayda Wayda has never been the type to crash out publicly for attention. She doesn't spiral online. She doesn't beg for sympathy. She moves, she builds, she levels up. So when she chooses her words carefully, people listen closely.
I think Lil Baby is bisexual. I was sucking his, and I started going down. And yeah, he didn't stop me. He pulled his legs back to him.
And this time, people weren't just listening. They were connecting dots. Because for years now, there's been a quiet narrative surrounding Lil Baby that never quite dies. It disappears for a few months, then resurfaces the moment a photo drops, a GIF goes viral, or a billionaire pops up standing just a little too close. The whispers aren't about music. They're about power. They're about access. They're about who's really opening the doors and whether the public image matches the private alliances.
I would say my last relationship definitely taught me, like, when somebody show you who they are,
Believe
the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time, you have to believe them. No matter how much, like, time really don't heal.
But damn. I don't know.
Time do not heal. That person gonna always be them.
Time only heals if a person is, like, mentally there with it. You know, like, time don't heal if it's two people on two different pages.
Jayda didn't say any of that directly. She didn't need to. The timing did the talking for her, because the second she posted that clip, the timeline ran straight back to that infamous white party photo. The one where Lil Baby was front and center, surrounded by elite power players, moving like he wasn't just invited, but positioned. Michael Rubin was right there, close, comfortable, smiling, and that image didn't look like a casual met at an event moment. It looked familiar.
Rubin was never hugging me. You know what I'm saying? I was dapping Kuzman up, and Mike happy to see me. He ran over there, and we started, like, wrestling, like, touching it. And a picture, Mike, one of my real good friends, we had a party with goddamn 200-300 people. There's nothing weird to go on, all these people in the mix, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna get on the internet and go back and forth and all, like, yeah, I told him, man, that's a crazy looking picture, you know what I'm saying?
Now, before anybody twists this into something it's not, let's be clear. Being friends with billionaires isn't a crime. In fact, it's smart business. Networking at that level changes careers. But what raised eyebrows wasn't the friendship itself. It was the consistency. Private jets, courtside seats, elite-only parties, high-stakes gambling stories, industry protection, the same names showing up again and again, and the internet doesn't ignore patterns.
What's the most you ever lost gambling at once?
$8 million.
How long?
Like one day, like probably like 40 hours straight. I lost like 8 million,
That's not
9 million.
That's not one.
I made myself stop gambling. I had Mike Rubin write a letter to every casino and ban me from the casino. You know, because I just do shit. You know what I'm saying?
Back when that white party photo first hit, people laughed it off. Memes flew, jokes circulated. Then 50 Cent reposted it with a caption that basically said what everybody was already thinking. What's really going on here? That's when it stopped being a joke and started becoming a theory. Lil Baby brushed it off later, saying it was just play wrestling, just a quick moment caught at a weird angle. Nothing deeper than that. And maybe that's true. But here's the thing about optics. Once the internet locks in on an image, it doesn't let go easily. And that wasn't the only moment that fueled speculation. There was the gambling story. Lil Baby openly admitted he lost nearly $9 million in a short stretch of time. That's not pocket change. That's the kind of loss that shifts careers. And when things spiraled, he said it was Michael Rubin who stepped in, writing letters to casinos to have him banned so he wouldn't keep betting. To some people, that sounds like a loyal friend stepping up. To others, it sounds like someone protecting a very expensive investment. Again, no accusations, just optics. And optics matter when your brand is built on independence, self-made hustle, and being untouchable. Now zoom out. If you're Jayda, watching this from the inside, you're not seeing memes. You're not seeing funny captions. You're seeing the same powerful names always hovering around the person you're building a life with. You're seeing influence that runs deeper than Instagram posts. And if you're noticing red flags over and over again, not necessarily about romance, but about control, power dynamics, and hidden leverage, at what point do you decide you've seen enough? That's what her statement felt like. Not jealousy, not bitterness, recognition. Because relationships aren't just about who someone texts at night. They're about who they answer to when things get complicated, who steps in when money gets reckless, who controls access to rooms that most artists will never even see. And when fans started replaying Jayda's words in that context, everything clicked differently. She didn't say, he cheated. She didn't say, he lied. She said, believe them when they show you. That leaves space for interpretation. And the internet filled that space fast. The sugar daddy label started trending again, not because she confirmed it, but because fans feel like they've been watching a pattern unfold for years. Lavish gifts from powerful men, access that feels curated, protection when scandals hit. The kind of elite backing that doesn't always come with public contracts attached. And whether any of that means anything concrete isn't even the point anymore. The perception alone is enough to create pressure, because Lil Baby's brand has always leaned heavy into authenticity, street roots, independent grind, rising through talent and hustle. So when billionaire energy becomes a recurring background character, people start asking questions. Who's funding what? Who's guiding what? Who benefits the most? And that's where this stops being about rumors and starts being about narrative control. Jayda's silence for years wasn't accidental. She watched. She built her own empire quietly. She co-parented. She stayed polished. And when she finally spoke in that calm, almost detached tone, it didn't feel like a woman venting. It felt like someone who had already walked away mentally. And here's the twist. Lil Baby has tried to clear up the noise before. He said certain images were misinterpreted. He said jokes aren't funny. He's insisted there's nothing strange about his circle. But when you tell the internet you have proof and don't release it, that silence becomes fuel. And now Jayda's comment just poured gasoline on a fire that never fully went out. Because if she really did see something, not necessarily scandalous, but strategic, something that made her realize she was dealing with more than just a boyfriend, that's a different type of revelation. That's not about love. That's about power. And when power is involved, relationships get complicated in ways the public rarely understands. Right now, nobody has confirmed anything. There's no smoking gun, no receipts dropped by Jayda, no names called out directly. But the timing, the body language in old photos, the billionaire proximity, the sudden distance in her tone, it's all lining up in a way that feels deliberate. And if this really is Jayda quietly exposing the reality behind the image, not with shouting, but with subtlety, then this might be the beginning of a much bigger unraveling. Because once people start looking at elite friendships differently, they don't stop at one photo. And the deeper fans dig into Lil Baby's circle, the more questions they're going to ask. And I promise you, we're only at the surface of this. And the moment those questions started multiplying, the timeline shifted from gossip to investigation mode. Because once fans feel like there's a hidden layer to something, they don't just scroll past it, they start pulling threads. Old clips resurfaced, interviews people barely paid attention to the first time suddenly felt different. Even the way Lil Baby used to describe himself in earlier conversations started sounding almost strategic in hindsight. For years, Lil Baby positioned himself as calculated, clean image. No tattoos at first, business-minded, always talking about longevity and not wanting to look stereotyped. He made it clear he was thinking 10 steps ahead, especially when it came to moving in corporate spaces. And that part matters, because you don't get into billionaire rooms by accident. You don't consistently end up courtside next to CEOs, private equity legends, and global athletes unless somebody vouches for you at a level most artists never reach. So when fans started replaying that white party footage, they weren't just watching a funny hug anymore. They were studying proximity. Michael Rubin isn't just a random wealthy guy who throws big events. He's connected to sports leagues, music executives, ownership circles, the type of networks that can open doors permanently. And Lil Baby being a consistent fixture in those environments raised a bigger question than the internet was ready to articulate at first. Who benefits more from this alliance? On the surface, it looks simple. A billionaire befriends a hot rapper. Cool. Networking, mutual respect. But when the same billionaire shows up during moments of financial turbulence, like that gambling situation where millions vanished almost overnight, people start looking at it differently. Lil Baby openly admitted he lost nearly $9 million in under 2 days. That's not a minor slip. That's the kind of number that can destabilize anyone, no matter how successful they are. And when he said it was Rubin who stepped in, who wrote to casinos to ban him, who essentially shut the doors before it got worse, the story split the audience. Some saw loyalty, others saw leverage, because here's the uncomfortable reality. When someone at that level steps in to save you financially, it creates a dynamic. Maybe not contractual, maybe not explicit, but powerful people don't move without intention. And that's when Jayda's words started echoing louder. When somebody shows you who they are, if you're in a relationship watching these dynamics unfold, you're not just thinking about romance. You're thinking about control, about influence, about who really has the steering wheel. Jayda Wayda built her own empire independently. She's not naive about money. She understands branding, influence, access. So if she sensed that certain relationships in Lil Baby's life carried more weight than the public understood, that's not something you ignore forever. And this is where the sugar daddy label started gaining traction again. Not because anyone confirmed it, but because fans are obsessed with power hierarchies. They see lavish gifts, elite proximity, and protective behavior from billionaires, and their minds jump to one conclusion. There must be more to the story, especially when moments stack up. Take the birthday gift from James Harden, a Prada duffel stuffed with $100,000 in cash, a Richard Mille watch, honey buns for laughs. It was flashy, dramatic, over the top. At the time, people saw it as rich friends flexing. But now, under this new lens, fans are revisiting it as part of a pattern. Powerful men orbiting consistently, generosity flowing heavily, optics that feel larger than simple friendship. Then there was Paris. Fashion Week 2021, police stop, cannabis claims, cameras everywhere. Harden questioned and released. Lil Baby fined and photographed being escorted. The images traveled fast. And once again, who was by his side? The same circle. To some, it's just loyalty. To others, it's curated companionship. The internet doesn't need hard proof to build a narrative. It just needs repetition. And repetition is what's making this situation uncomfortable. Because every time Lil Baby appears in these elite spaces, the commentary reignites. Every time he downplays it, the skepticism grows. He's addressed the white party photo before. He said it looked weird. He said nothing inappropriate happened. He even mentioned having footage that proves it was harmless. But footage never surfaced. And in the age of instant receipts, saying you have proof without showing it doesn't calm people down. It excites them. Now here's where the tension really sharpens. Jayda hasn't directly fueled any of this. She hasn't reposted memes, she hasn't subtweeted billionaires, she hasn't laughed at rumors, she's stayed polished, which almost makes it louder. Because silence from her side feels intentional, controlled. Like she knows something deeper about those dynamics but isn't interested in being the one to spell it out. That restraint is powerful. And the more Lil Baby tries to brush it off as internet foolishness, the more fans interpret that as deflection. This isn't about orientation. It's not about confirming or denying wild rumors. It's about optics, clashing with image. Lil Baby's brand is rooted in authenticity, independence, grind. So when billionaire mentorship and high-profile alliances become recurring headlines, it challenges that narrative. It introduces complexity, and complexity makes audiences curious. What if the rise wasn't as solo as it appeared? What if certain doors weren't just open, but strategically unlocked? What if Jayda, watching from the inside, realized she wasn't just dating a rapper, but stepping into a power structure that ran deeper than Instagram captions? That possibility alone is enough to shake a relationship. Because being involved with someone connected at that level means you're not just dealing with love triangles or petty drama. You're navigating influence, loyalty, image protection, and alliances that can outlast romance. And maybe that's what her statement hinted at. Not scandal, not shock, but recognition of a bigger picture. Right now, fans are dissecting everything. Old interviews, old gifts, old body language, the way certain people always appear at pivotal moments in Lil Baby's life. And the more they dissect, the more the sugar daddy narrative morphs into something broader. A story about who funds influence, who protects assets, and who benefits when headlines stay controlled. Lil Baby may think he's clearing the noise by dismissing it. But dismissal doesn't erase curiosity. It amplifies it. And if Jayda truly stepped away because she saw patterns she couldn't unsee, then this isn't just messy gossip. It's a quiet power shift. Because once the public starts questioning the foundation of someone's image, the conversation stops being about jokes and starts being about credibility. And credibility is harder to repair than reputation. And this time, the internet isn't laughing as much as it's watching closely. What makes this situation even heavier is that nothing has actually been confirmed. Yet the conversation refuses to die. That's when you know it's no longer about a single photo, a single billionaire friendship, or a single cryptic comment from Jayda. It's about perception settling in. And perception can be more powerful than proof. Because once people start believing there's a hidden layer to someone's success, every move begins to look strategic instead of organic. Every appearance in elite spaces starts feeling calculated. Every public defense sounds rehearsed instead of natural. And the more Lil Baby insists nothing unusual is happening, the more certain corners of the internet interpret that as someone protecting a narrative instead of clarifying one. That's the trap of optics. Lil Baby has spent years crafting an image rooted in authenticity. The self-made rise, the grind, the independence. His interviews reinforce that story. His music reinforces that story. His brand depends on it. So when elite alliances become the dominant visual, it complicates that identity whether he likes it or not. And Jayda's words didn't introduce the suspicion, they legitimized it. Because when Jayda Wayda says she finally believed what she was shown repeatedly, fans assume she's speaking from insider knowledge, not speculation. That's what gave the rumors oxygen again. Not gossip blogs, not memes, her tone. She sounded certain, not emotional, not bitter. Certain. And certainty makes people curious. Now let's talk about power in relationships. It's one thing to date someone who has money. It's another thing to date someone whose money is intertwined with other powerful figures who operate behind the scenes. When billionaires, athletes, executives, and investors move around the same person consistently, the relationship dynamic changes. You're not just navigating two personalities, you're navigating networks, and networks protect themselves. That's why some fans are convinced this goes deeper than friendship optics. Not because of any confirmed arrangement, but because of how carefully everything seems handled. The white party explanation was clean. The gambling story was framed as concern from a friend. The footage from that event was mentioned but never released. Statements are made, lines are drawn, and then silence. It's polished. And polish sometimes reads like protection. The sugar daddy label, whether fair or not, became shorthand for a bigger suspicion. That there's financial backing and strategic alignment happening at a level the public doesn't fully see. That certain alliances aren't random social circles, but calculated partnerships with long-term implications. When fans look at the private jets, the courtside placements, the high-profile vacations, and the consistent billionaire proximity, they don't see coincidence. They see infrastructure. And infrastructure implies intent. Now layer that with James Harden's role in the narrative. James Harden has been one of Lil Baby's most visible companions in elite spaces. The birthday gift moment, the cash-filled Prada bag, the Richard Mille watch became viral for its extravagance. But in hindsight, it also reinforced the theme of powerful men investing heavily in Lil Baby's presence. Again, that could simply be friendship. Wealthy circles operate differently. But when those images stack up next to Jayda's quiet exit and cryptic remarks, the internet builds a storyline. And once the internet builds a storyline, it doesn't need confirmation to keep it alive. Lil Baby addressed rumors before. He's dismissed speculation as clout-chasing nonsense. He's expressed frustration with how far people stretch narratives. He's emphasized that there's no mystery in his history. But here's the part that makes this complicated. Denying rumors works best when the audience feels you're transparent about everything else. When parts of your world look curated, elite, and carefully shielded, denial can feel like another layer of polish. And that's where credibility becomes fragile. Not because of what's proven, but because of what feels withheld. Meanwhile, Jayda's silence is louder than any rant would have been. She's not leaking texts. She's not exposing contracts. She's not accusing anyone of specific arrangements. She's simply moving on with visible calm, as if she's already processed whatever made her step away. That composure implies closure, and closure implies discovery. If she truly realized that the dynamics around Lil Baby weren't aligned with what she wanted for her future, whether that's about influence, control, or hidden leverage, then her decision wasn't impulsive. It was strategic. And strategy speaks volumes. Because here's the uncomfortable reality. When an artist operates inside billionaire ecosystems, relationships aren't just emotional, they're political. Every appearance matters. Every alliance signals something. Every financial rescue or lavish gift shifts perception. And perception influences power. Right now, Lil Baby's camp is likely aware of how delicate this narrative has become. One wrong public move could validate the wrong interpretation. One defensive outburst could fuel the theory instead of quiet it. That's why everything feels measured. But the internet isn't measuring. It's speculating. And speculation thrives in silence. The deeper fans dig into old footage, interviews, and party clips, the more they feel like they're uncovering something hidden, even if what they're uncovering is simply the complexity of elite networking. At this point, it's no longer about whether a billionaire is a friend, mentor, investor, or just a social acquaintance. It's about why the optics create so much tension in the first place. Because if everything were straightforward, Jayda's words wouldn't have hit this hard. They wouldn't have reignited theories. They wouldn't have made old photos trend again. So here's the bigger question. Is this really about hidden backing? Or is it about how uncomfortable people get when street credibility intersects with billionaire proximity? Is the sugar daddy narrative a reach fueled by internet imagination? Or is it a reaction to alliances that feel unusually close and unusually protective? And more importantly, Did Jayda quietly confirm that there's more beneath the surface than fans were ever meant to understand? Drop your thoughts below. Do you think this is just optics being misinterpreted? Or is there a deeper power play happening behind the scenes? If you're rocking with these breakdowns that peel back the layers instead of just repeating headlines, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss what's next.